Hello, Wastelanders and Adventurers. I am Caedo Genesis, and this is the PIPCAST 3000, a bi-weekly podcast every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, where we talk about Fallout and gaming and other stuff related to those things. I am joined by my co-host, Jared. My goodness, I was on a roll, and then I messed it up. Jared of Jared Gaming.
Hi. I'm awake.
And we would have a third individual here, BADCompanySarge, but he has run into some computer issues and is not able to join us this week. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, he'll be back with us, but unfortunately, hardware is not getting along with him right now, so
Yeah.
gosh darn it.
Yep.
Hope for the best. Hope for the best. So we have a few lighter news topics. We had our month worth of ranting about Cyberpunk. I think we're going to talk about it a little bit more this time, but we're also talking about a giant Overhaul mod project that finally got released. We have things related to Lucasfilm and its properties, Star Wars and Indiana Jones. We are going to talk about a blatant Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff movie and the Mortal Kombat movie and some Razer products.
Yeah.
A little bit. Not sponsored.
No.
But something that Jared found that was pretty awesome.
Unless they're listening and they want to, you know.
Yeah, right. And our Fallout topic is going to be related to mounts in Fallout and what we would imagine riding around the wasteland with. So you can expect all of those things, but we usually start with a tip of the day and a comment of the cast. And if you comment on any of the PIPcasts, I mean, the more recent ones, the previous one, we might grab it and use it as a comment of the cast to basically be our icebreaker or something like that. And then you get some recognition in the process. So our first thing is the tip of the day, which is to tip your delivery drivers / Uber and Lyft. We're still dealing with the pandemic. There are a lot of people working and delivering things to us. This may mostly apply to the US where tipping is acceptable. But if tipping is part of, work culture wherever you live, make sure that those who are doing you a favor are getting tipped well, because they are putting themselves at risk to bring you your food and whatever else you're ordering. So
Yep.
I've been using Amazon Prime now a little much, more than I should be lately. But I'm like, man, I gotta get some more iced coffee. Nope, just gotta type it in.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We can do stuff like that. I remember a time when that wasn't a thing. So
yeah, that was only a few years ago too.
Yeah.
When even Uber and Lyft have only been around for a few years.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I remember the first time I tried. I've never taken an Uber or Lyft, but like Grubhub or whatever, having food delivered. I remember the first time I tried it, and I was like, "This is really cool." I could get used to this. It's just it's too bad it's a little on the expensive side for me, but it's nice to treat yourself once in a while. And while you're treating yourself, treat them as well.
Yes. Do so. And we had a comment of the cast. You feel like reading that one?
Sure. Comment of the cast is by Fun Curl or Fun-Curl. And they said, "I can see myself in the stream." I don't know what that means, man. You're going to have to enlighten me. Was he looking into a brook and then seeing his reflection, or?
So this is kind of a little segue type thing, and I appreciate Curl for doing this. Fun Curl was watching a stream on my Discord server that I think it started with Noita, and then went on to Cyberpunk or comments, and then Cyberpunk. But we were reading comments on my channel, and I was replying to them while we were just hanging out in the live stream. So if you want to, join a live stream that I do every so often on my server, because I kind of gave up live streaming on YouTube itself. Feel free. That's something you can do. I mean, the Discord in general is a pretty cool place to be, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
And Jared's got one too.
Yeah.
So if you don't have gobs of servers on your Discord.
I was thinking that the other day. I was like, I wonder how many servers most people belong to, because like I belong to obviously mine, yours, Sarge, and like a couple more, but like I'm sure there's people that just belong to like tons.
Yeah.
Knowing the way on internet culture is and whatnot, and I don't know. It was just a random thought. I was like, I wonder how many people have. Is there a limit to how many servers you can belong to on Discord?
I don't know.
It's just where my brain goes sometimes late at night when I'm trying to sleep instead of sleeping.
Right. Yeah. I have no idea. I think I'm part of like 10-ish, but I'm only active in mine, really.
Right.
I kind of lurk in yours and Sarge's.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, same here. Like I mean, I don't really interact much in your guys's, but I do pop in once in a while to see what's going on, and just like you said, lurk.
Others are just like, just in case I need to get in touch with somebody again real quick, just be like, hey, and like ping them in their own server. Rarely do I do that. If it's somebody I have worked with in the past, I already have them as a friend on here, so
yeah,
that's a benefit. That's a good perk of Discord.
Yeah, no, it's an extremely useful and versatile tool that I probably haven't even really fully realized, because I've only started using Discord in maybe the past year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still learning how to use it, but it's definitely nice to have, especially since I deleted my Facebook account a few months ago. So
I'm getting close to doing that myself.
Yeah, this was I think I deleted mine right before the election. So I was just getting sick and tired of
it's just draining.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you go on there and you're just like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I just want to go.
Yep. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm getting rid of it. I have pictures and peak contacts, and I was like, I can take any one of these excuses to keep it. I was like, no, you're gone. It was like I was a mafia crime boss. Like, you're done. Put him under 6 feet under. You're done, kid. Just got rid of it. So I don't know why we're talking about that necessarily. Going off on a tangent about freaking Facebook.
Discord is cooler.
It is. It really is. Honestly, like
what we're circling back to.
Yeah. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah. So we had some news topics.
Yeah.
First is a big one in the Fallout community, something a lot of people in the modding community have been anticipating and waiting for and seeing updates on, and that is Fallout the Frontier. It is finally out. It is a massive overhaul campaign mod for Fallout New Vegas. It takes place in the Portland, Oregon area, of course, post-war. And I haven't seen much feedback on it yet because it is very new, but currently it is available on Nexus Mods, and apparently the people downloading it has been so traffic heavy that it's been crashing Nexus.
Oh wow.
Which is pretty great. And on Steam, it's actually going to be available on Steam through Steam Workshop, I think. And that is, I think, 2 weeks from recording is when it's going to be available. So look for that if you're into playing Fallout New Vegas or finding new ways to play Fallout New Vegas. Highly recommend giving it a shot. The trailer on the Steam page is actually them showing a preview of their vehicle mechanics.
Yeah.
And as you know, the Gamebryo engine / creation engine, whichever era that was from, vehicles just don't work. The fastest vehicle we get is a horse in Bethesda games,
Yeah.
But somehow they managed to make a car with suspension and gun turrets and actual turning. It looks like it works like a car.
It doesn't look half bad just looking at the video. Obviously not playing it. I can't speak to it too much, but it doesn't look half bad.
Yeah. I was actually really surprised because it didn't look like New Vegas at all.
Yeah.
It looks like a different... It looks kind of like a Mad Max game or a Carmageddon or something along those lines.
Definitely changed the pace a bit.
Mm-hmm. Oh. I am stoked to maybe give it a try, but I'm not excited to install a whole bunch of mods and try to get it all to work.
What?
Because there should be a caveat with this. I should have started with that actually. You need to have a little bit of patience and be a little familiar with installing mods. I have a feeling that Gopher, the well-known mod creator and mod tutorial maker, that he has done a tutorial or is doing a tutorial on installing the Frontier.
Yeah. I was going to say, depending on what prerequisite mods you might need, I think the fact that it is going to be available on Steam, because downloading mods for Bethesda games on Steam is fairly straightforward if you're not as familiar installing mods and stuff, because it's usually just, oh, I like that mod, click the subscribe button for that mod, and now you've got that mod. So having it on Steam might actually make it easier, but you still need to be somewhat familiar. But hopefully you don't need to be, like you or me, like I'll sit down if I get into mod mode on one of these games, like I'll sit there for hours just downloading mods and prerequisite mods and additional mods and and then not play the game.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't seeing a tutorial from Gopher yet, but I'm sure there are some out there still.
Yeah.
From others on how to install it properly. Yeah. So there's no like mod conflicts or anything like that. The Nexus launcher itself also kind of has an auto organizer type of system in it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Which makes it a bit easier, quite a bit easier.
Yeah.
Or Vortex is what it's called now.
Right. Yeah. Forgot they changed that. Either way you look at it, I mean, it's a lot easier to mod than it used to be, but it's still, you can still screw things up pretty royally if you do something wrong, especially if you don't realize you've done something wrong.
Let me read the introduction for the Fallout: The Frontier before we move on to the next thing, just so everybody knows like what it's about.
Heck yeah.
In the cold, snowy streets of Portland, Oregon, the New California exiles and Caesar's Legion fight for domination of a city rich in resources and military hardware. But what lies in wait under the snowy ruins? The Frontier is a new game-sized modification for Fallout New Vegas, created by a passionate group of dozens of community members over a 7-year period. The Frontier is the largest modification ever released for Fallout New Vegas, and aims to be a unique experience for players both old and new, featuring new gameplay mechanics such as high-quality drivable vehicles and incredible scripting and visual effects that are sure to impress even the oldest fans of the series. All of this wrapped up with a high-quality voice acting, dozens of side quests, and hundreds of exciting new characters. So that's the intro.
Nice.
So yeah, if you're looking for the Frontier, Fallout: The Frontier mod, links are down below in the description. And now we can move on to the Cyberpunk spotlight.
Dun, dun. Yeah.
So CD Projekt Red finally put out a statement, both showing their commitment to improving the game that they released as a bug-riddled mess, and a video message from Marcin Iwinski, the co-founder of CD Projekt Red. So CD Projekt, sorry.
What's the difference?
CD Projekt is the publisher. CD Projekt Red is the developer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he basically apologized and decided to let people know that the responsibility falls upon him when it comes to when the game is released, and the developers do not deserve any of that flack, which is gutsy. to say something like that.
Yeah.
Because they could easily throw anybody under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that wouldn't be received well either, but he's in a position where that is kind of expected, and he didn't go along with that, thankfully. But also, he took quite a while to actually respond in this way. It's been out for a month.
Yeah.
So up until this point, I'm sure a lot of them have been doing damage control related stuff. No doubt the developers themselves have been busy, or some of them have been just on winter break or something.
Yeah, it's possible that, after they release it, they're like, all right, we need to freaking take a step back and like not worry about any of this right now. Because
I'm saying some of them, because like there's still been patches coming out and stuff like that.
Right. There's always going to be someone working somewhere. That's just the nature of work in general. But it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of them took some time off afterwards, and even though it was a buggy mess, I'm sure they're like, okay, they're taking care of it. We need to take a step back and just like consider everything, and before we go forward about it with anything else. And because a lot of these development studios, I mean, you hear horror stories, of how much they work, and it doesn't surprise me that it's taken them a little while to come forward to not only address the issues, but to essentially own up, like you said, to the issues, and take the responsibility off the people who are working their butts off.
Which they should. So what we got alongside this was a roadmap showing like what happened hotfix wise before the year turned over, and then we're supposed to get patch 1.1 and 1.2 probably like within first quarter ish of the year. The funny thing is about this roadmap is there's no actual dates or months on it.
It's very vague,
which is kind of important on a roadmap, right?
Yeah.
When they're trying to show their plans, it's actually just a block of a year, and they have these little points that they put in without actual time.
It reminds me of Back to the Future when Doc is trying to explain time to Marty. There's a line, here's a line.
Yeah.
That might be too much of an old reference for anyone to understand.
Back to the Future is a classic. Okay, so there was a Q&A as well, likely extremely curated. Both of those things are linked below if you're interested in seeing what Marcin has to say. And I am surprised, well, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, of the positive reception that the video itself got. I was expecting a lot more of a downvote spam.
A troll fest.
Well, it wouldn't be a troll fest. It'd just be like, irritated players or annoyed players. But
maybe a little bit of both.
A lot of people have been getting their refunds.
I'm sure there's probably a little bit of both. With as many legitimate reasons to be upset, I'm sure there's a lot of just people who are upset because other people are upset and don't really know why they're upset, because that seems to be the nature of people.
Well, yeah, there's I mean, part of gaming culture is being told that you're upset about something. Apparently.
Yeah.
Or being told that you should be, and then people being like, well, I am now.
Exactly. I don't know. For me personally, like we talked about in the last PIPCAST, like I've actually, I've been really enjoying my time with the game. I think I've got like 120 hours into it at this point, which is probably not a lot for some people, but no, I think for this game, I think you could say that that's quite a bit considering everything. This whole situation is, to me, I think I mentioned it last PIPCAST. It's like, to me, it's very heartbreaking because I like this company and I try to put myself like in their shoes a little bit. It's like, these people have spent years of their lives working their butts off on this project, and I can't think that they went into this planning to make a buggy mess of a game. They went into this wanting to create a very rewarding experience for people, and things didn't work out as they often don't in life. And I think it's like you said, it's rare to get a message like this, especially from like a co-founder or CEO or whatever, taking responsibility and kind of owning up to it. And I think it's a testament to the company being a stand-up company. Because,
Well,
how many times has EA stepped forward to take responsibility for a crappy game that they've published?
a couple times, but it's been hollow words. So
Right.
This is like the first step, but they can take steps back from this position. We need to make sure we keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Like saying and doing are two different things,
This is true. You're very right.
We've gotten, I mean, Blizzard Activision is a good example too. Like, we'll do better, and they don't. In fact, they do the opposite. Like, yeah, okay, Blizzard.
No, you're definitely right.
But that's an extreme. Like they're pretty much irredeemable at this point.
Dang.
WoW Classic was a step in the right direction after so many backsteps. So now they're working towards the middle again. Or something. It's another thing that's just exhausting to me to see executives do the same things over and over, even after having examples of what not to do.
Yeah. Sounds a little bit like human nature.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. Anyway, we should move on from Cyberpunk. I don't... Let's talk about other cool stuff.
Yeah.
Including another wonderful publisher.
Speaking of which.
Okay, so you know how EA had the Star Wars license exclusively for quite a long time. Well, now, surprisingly, Ubisoft is going to be working on a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just Ubisoft. I mean, from my understanding, Lucasfilm Games is handing out IPs left and right.
Lucasfilm has come back from the grave.
Yeah.
I think we should mention that too.
Yeah. They kind of went away. I think they kind of went away when Disney procured the Star Wars
I think
whole thing.
Yeah, I think that was part of Disney's plan, was to EA it. Which is just get rid of the stuff that they don't consider profitable, and then suddenly, oh, video games are profitable. Oh, weird.
So go figure.
And let's bring it back. Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually really hyped about this news, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Growing up, a lot of the LucasArts and Lucasfilm, LucasArts games were my bread and butter for so long, and it was so sad to see the company get canned when Disney took over, and now seeing them, rising from the grave, and then with the promise and hope of seeing some projects and games made that I didn't think we were ever going to see. I'm really even with Ubisoft. I mean, I've got like a love-hate with them anyways, but I'm hopeful.
Mm-hmm. I am too. I hope that more good Star Wars games get released.
Yeah.
Because apparently Squadrons was good.
Yeah.
What? Oh. I thought you were about to be like, no.
No. It was I played like TIE Fighter and X-Wing back in the day, the original Star Wars flight simulators. And even though I've only played a little bit of Squadrons, just because I haven't had time to get into it really a whole lot, I was really impressed, actually. Like,
oh, good.
It was pretty cool. And I tried it in VR as well at one point, even though it's not really a VR game. But being able to like sit in the cockpit in the VR perspective, and you can look around, and it was pretty mind-blowing, actually. It's one of those things that you've always wanted to do as a kid, if you're a Star Wars fan or whatever, and finally getting to step into the cockpit. It was pretty good. I think that they did a pretty decent job, actually.
Yeah. And part of that, we had Jedi Fallen Order, which was received well too.
Yeah, that was a pretty decent one too.
Yeah, so that's 2 for 2.
Out of a lot, though. It's too bad they weren't like at this level making good Star Wars games before these two games.
Right. Would prefer Battlefront to be done right the first time, not the third. I would have said second, but 2 was a mess. So, and then they fixed it. Took a long time. I think I wanted to just read like what Ubisoft is doing. They put up game listings or game job listings for which hinted at the game details, which is where IGN is getting this information. So job listings for game designer positions.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
On top of that, there's also an exclusive deal from Lucasfilm with Bethesda in making a Indiana Jones game also. Yeah. We're going back to the classics, man. I wonder if it's going to be set in the olden times Star Wars game too. Like the original trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we got a little teaser trailer for the Indiana Jones one instead of job listings. But it's just all it shows is really panning through a desk and showing who's working on it. So it's gonna be like co-published by Bethesda and Lucasfilm, and Machine Games, those who did the new Wolfenstein games, are going to be working on the Indiana Jones game. So I'm going to keep my expectations at a nice midway, but I know they do narrative pretty well. I know they do first person mechanics pretty well. So look forward to that.
Indiana Jones game first person be kind of cool.
They might make it third person. Like they might take a different direction.
I mean, they could. They've older Indiana Jones games in the past have always been in the third person perspective, but I'm thinking like a first person would be also kind of cool, because I mean Indiana Jones is a lot of shooting guns, you know.
Yeah, but you also think like the genre of Tomb Raider types
yeah
is pretty flooded, or pretty much set with Uncharted and the Tomb Raider games.
Yep.
And those, to me, like, I even made an effort to play the Uncharted games, I think last year. I don't really care much about them after I play them. They just kind of exist as games. I play them and then they're done.
Yeah.
That's a one and done type situation. I'm hoping it's not that. I'm hoping they find a way to make it not that, without making it live service. But that's a bit of a tall order, I think.
I would like to see it be kind of like a mixture between. Well, I guess I should say I would like to see them take more ideas from like the newer Tomb Raider games, where it's almost kind of open world. I think
like
that would
open hub type.
Yeah, you can kind of wander around the map where you want to, essentially, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool for an Indiana Jones game where you can just kind of, you know, do your own thing, essentially. I mean, to a degree. I think that there's a lot of potential, and I hope they don't screw it up.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones is also one of those special places in my nerd heart. So
yeah, I like to notice the Indiana Jones nerds that keep coming out of the woodwork too when this was announced, because I didn't think it was that big of a franchise still, because of how long it's been. Kind of how long it's been since like the good Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, there's only 3.
Yeah. So I'm hoping also, for your sake, that it's good.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to think of Bethesda doing it, so it really gets your head spinning with ideas of, you know, what the possibilities could be.
Machine Games, published by Bethesda.
Right. And I liked the you said the Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
They are not bad games. They're straight up first person shooters.
Yes.
But I mean, that's
very
all
linear.
That's always been Wolfenstein, so that, to me, that's not a bad thing. That's been Wolfenstein since the beginning. It's just running around and shooting Nazis. Can I say that? Can I say that word?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as I don't put it in the title, I'll be fine.
Yeah, okay. just double checking. I don't know, man. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of this whole ordeal. I hope they give the IP, and I hope somebody remakes the the old like Dark. Did you ever play Dark Forces Star Wars game? It's a first-person shooter, but it was it was the first game that
I may have played a demo.
It was the first game that eventually became the Jedi Knight series.
Or maybe it was Jedi Knight that I played. I played one of them. I played one of the first-person shooter Star Wars games.
Yeah, the first Dark Forces you played as a mercenary. His name is Kyle Katarn, and he's just a mercenary, and then later he becomes, a Force-using Jedi in the Jedi Knight games. It's a great series and as a whole, and I think the original Dark Forces could do with a nice facelift. And I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. I've seen other people mention that as well. So it would be really cool. It'd be really cool if that happens. I'd be pretty hyped about that.
I know we got a few Star Wars nerds in my Discord who would probably happily pipe in. I know because I triggered one of them with a meme.
Uh-oh.
in my server. Just for the fun of it. It's more just to get a rise out of people.
Sure. Gotta do that once in a while.
Gotta troll my community once in a while.
Speaking of trolls.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer to this?
I have. I watched it, and
it looks so bad.
It looks so Nicolas Cage, though. Like, I didn't even know he was still making movies.
Okay, context. Willy's Wonderland trailer just dropped, and it is a absolutely blatant ripoff of Five Nights at Freddy's as a movie, which is a bit of a frustration to a lot of people because there's already a Five Nights at Freddy's movie in the works.
Oh, there is. I didn't know
by
that.
the original creator. I think it's in like the writing stage or pre-production stage.
Oh wow.
And then this surfaces. So they're trying to capitalize on something that was popular as a cheap knockoff, I guess. And it's just what else can you say? Just watch the trailer. It's and they use a quote that one of the characters in The Watchmen said, word for word. He's not trapped in here with them, they're trapped in here with him. And that's what Rorschach says in The Watchmen. I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me.
Do we know who's making this movie? Like, who's blatantly just ripping off other things to make this happen?
Landmark Studio Group of Foresight Unlimited?
Do we know what else they've made? Just out of curiosity.
No.
Okay. So it's
see where the trailer's hosted at. Film Select Trailer. Okay, that's just a trailer channel.
And I have to say that watching the trailer, part of me can't help but think that Nicolas Cage is not acting. They just got Nicolas Cage and plumped him down into this and just sort of see how things would happen. Because it's very just like Nick Cage being Nick Cage in this. Like, it's I don't know. I watched it, and at the end I was laughing, not because it was funny looking, or not because the content was comedic. It's just like, it was just so ridiculous. I don't know, like...
Terrible.
Yeah.
It's the kind of movie you make a drinking game out of.
It's the kind of movie you get Nick Cage to star in.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
The trailer makes it look like just a trashy horror movie for a particular season, like just a seasonal horror movie, basically, like My Bloody Valentine or whatever. Like, fill in the blank for this part of the season. Minimal effort. Obviously, because they're, using Five Nights at Freddy's as a guideline.
Well, I didn't know that there was an actual Five Nights at Freddy's movie in the works. I mean, it's the concept in of itself has potential to be a fairly decent, creepy setting for a movie. I don't think this is going to have that effect. I think it's just, I think it's going to be so cheesy and just Nick Cagey that it's going to lose everything that it could have, which is what the actual movie is probably going to have. And I'm sure it'll have its due when it comes out, because people who are fans of Five Nights at Freddy's are pretty big fans of it, you know.
Yeah.
So
I'm hoping that holds for however long it takes for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
Yeah, because they've been around. Man, it's been around for a while.
Yeah, I've never really
Markiplier popular.
Oh yeah, you know. I've never really been a big fan of them. I think the only Five Nights at Freddy's game I ever played was actually the VR version.
Oh wow!
Which was fairly recent.
I bet that was scary.
Yeah, it was. Playing any horror game in VR is extremely interesting experience.
Immersive.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I might as well touch on the other movie thing,
which was definitely news to me.
Yeah.
Do you want me to? Yeah. Well, not only are we getting Nick Cage in Five Nights at Freddy ripoff movies, we are getting a new Mortal Kombat movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which for someone who has watched, you know, the old Mortal Kombat movies and still remembers them, makes me kind of honestly a little hesitant for another one. Yeah, just because, I mean, I don't know, Mortal Kombat is just kind of an odd choice to make a movie out of, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Well, there was a Mortal Kombat movie back in the day, wasn't there?
Like, that's what I mean. Like, for someone, I remember it, and it was
campy.
Yeah.
Very campy.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, at least going by this article that we have here, it's going to be R-rated, which I'm pretty sure the original movie was probably PG-13. I don't think it was super offensive, which has kind of been Mortal Kombat's MO since it came out. It's always been the game that pushed boundaries and tested people's
feelings.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, an R-rated. I'm a proponent of R-rated movies. Too many really good IPs get, you know, movie adaptations and stuff, and they suffer because the game or whatever is being, you know, the movie is being made from or whatever is usually like much more gritty and dark and violent, and then it gets nerfed in the movie and be made into like a PG or PG-13 movie. So I think maybe Mortal
95.
Kombat rated. What's that?
Came out in 95.
Dang.
Sequel in 97.
You're making me feel old, man. I don't remember what's worse, though, the original Mortal Kombat movie or the original Street Fighter movie.
I remember watching that at our mutual friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch it with him, too?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
At some point.
That was just... I think Mortal Kombat has an edge on it. Because if we're talking about, like, quality... But if we're talking about campy, I think that the Street Fighter movie wins. It was so stupid.
Easily.
So dumb.
It's an interesting concept.
So bad it's good.
To take a fighting game and make, you know, a movie out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, the idea in of itself is, I don't know, an interesting choice. You know, I know there is some narrative to the games, but I don't know how much, honestly, because I played, like, the original Mortal Kombat, like, the first one back in the day, and then I'm not sure I've played any others since, to be perfectly honest. Like, fighting games it's not really my thing. I think I played Tekken more than I played Mortal Kombat.
I think the fighting game besides Smash Bros.
Well, yeah.
The only fighting game I remember like investing some quarters and time in was not Bloody Roar, Primal Rage.
Okay.
The one where you fight dinosaurs. Which is I thought the game was like the coolest. It's a freaking T-Rex versus Triceratops and stuff. pretty crazy. I hope there was a Triceratops. I maybe just be making stuff up. They were like little tribal, like villagers running around. You could pick them up and eat them to heal or something.
Okay.
That was a weird game.
I think, and you can like climb buildings and stuff. And
no, that's Rampage. You're thinking
Rampage.
Clearly inspired a little bit by Rampage, though.
Makes sense. I think the one, like, there was one fighting game that I found at least fascinating as a kid, and it was Clay Fighter.
Yeah.
Did you ever play that?
I think I did for a very short time.
Yeah, it was all like claymation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with just really weird, outlandish characters and stuff. I just remember thinking it was just really cool to have a claymation fighting game. I don't know. Claymation isn't far underused and underutilized in the video game spectrum.
Yes. I think the only other claymation game that I can think of is the Neverhood.
Oh my god. Thank you.
Point and click.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh, it's so good.
I love that game to my core. The music alone.
Yeah. It's pretty great. For anybody who's old enough to remember when games were experimental and did all kinds of crazy stuff. The Neverhood was one of them.
Yep.
And I think I made sure to like finish it at some point, like having a strategy guide, obviously, because you don't want to spend weeks trying to figure out puzzles in a game like that.
It was pretty tough.
And the big spider dude that would just like run at you and eat you. I remember that part.
Yeah.
You had to be real quick. Anyway, super derailed. Doesn't matter to anybody else, probably. What was the next thing you brought up to me that I thought was really cool too?
Yeah, it's just something that I saw at one point. Apparently, Razer, a company that is well known for making peripherals like headsets and keyboards and mouses and stuff like that, they are putting out a line of face masks because, again, we're in a pandemic, and face masks has become a capitalized item. They kind of look cool regardless, but they are face masks with built-in microphones and RGB lighting.
They look like they got an anti-fog design too for those who wear glasses.
They could. I don't know.
But yeah, the speakers are the main feature of these masks.
Yeah, it's just such an interesting phenomenon that we find ourselves in with everything going on, and just like companies creating entire lines of products revolving around face masks and stuff like that. It's just so bizarre in sort of a like looking outside looking in sort of a thing. I don't know if these are meant to be played. Like when I see something like this, it makes me think of people live streaming and using these. Because why else would you have like the RGB and, you know, it's obviously it's meant for gamers, quote unquote gamers. Because you know, if you're a gamer, you got to have that RGB, right?
It's showing like those are just surrounding the speakers. I mean, probably just for branding's sake on the Razer front, but the speakers themselves, like my roommate was talking about like voice modulation kind of stuff, like you could talk like Darth Vader or something, which would be really cool, maybe being as an add-on later, but it's primarily set up to amplify your voice so you're not speaking in a muffled way like when you're wearing a regular mask, where people can actually understand you at a distance of 6 feet or greater, as opposed to having to pull your mask down to speak clearly or speak in a muffled way.
It's certainly interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it really. I mean, it's cool, but at the same time, I don't know if I would use one in real life. And I guess it really depends on how much it will cost for one, because I'm sure it'll be pretty spendy for something like that. Because honestly,
I'm thinking about like just comfort too. Yeah, like if you go out a lot and wear masks a lot, like this might be a more comfortable one, grand scheme of things. So it may justify the cost for some people.
Not gonna lie, I mean, in my line of work, I'm wearing a mask all day long. Just would be kind of cool. It would be unexpected, but it would be kind of cool. I don't know why you wouldn't be allowed to wear this in a workplace, but I could see why they would not necessarily be okay, just because I don't know. Like I said, it's an interesting phenomenon in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I would be interested just to see how much it costs.
Same. Yeah,
and go from there.
I don't think they even provided a link for this.
Yeah, I think it's still very conceptual.
Detachable and active ventilators plus smart pods, which regulate the airflow through the user wearing the mask. Additionally, the smart pods filter out at least 95% of airborne particles. Yeah, something to keep an eye on, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're going to see a lot more stuff like this as time goes on, just because,
yeah,
none of this stuff's going away.
Yeah.
So I think
looking forward to that vaccination.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward for things to not be screwed up.
Sorry, I was responding to a message. Anyway, that's the news. I know. I apologize. So we have one Fallout topic. It's not a long one, but it's something that Jared brought up as a. I think you're the one that suggested it too initially. So
yeah.
Let's.
Which is also interesting considering, the Fallout, the Frontier DLC, which I didn't actually. I didn't know there was the vehicles in the Frontier.
Yeah.
Until we started talking about it. So it's kind of interesting that our topic is also about mounts, which a car in the spectrum of video games could be considered a mount. But
it's your topic.
Okay.
Keep going.
But I guess the question is, do you want to see mounts in Fallout? Do we want to see Bethesda, or I guess, is Obsidian ever going to make a Fallout game again? That could be a topic in of itself, probably.
That's more fantasy than anything.
Yeah, so
but I'm sure that would be one for later.
Let's just assume that Bethesda is going to be heading Fallout games. Do you want to see mounts in Fallout? I personally, it's one of those questions that you kind of have to think about for a second. It's like, do I want them? Yes, I do, actually. But under certain caveats and certain, I want it to be done well, as I think anyone could agree with that. Anything should be done well. But just to address the question of itself, do you want to see mounts in Fallout? I personally think it'd be cool. I think the game would have to reflect that change of pace.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Because right now, I think if you were to add mounts in existing Fallout games, most of the Fallout games are fairly well sized in the scale of explorable terrain and whatnot. But I think if you implemented motorized transportation, it would feel a lot smaller. So obviously, if you're going to introduce, I think it's worth mentioning that mounts in Fallout don't necessarily need to be motorized. Why not have a animal like a horse or whatever, a Fallout version of a horse would be?
A Yaogwai.
Yeah, or multiple different animal mounts. I mean, it makes, to me, honestly, animal mount makes more sense. It'd be easier and more, common, I think, in a
Animal friend is already a perk too. An option for perks.
Yeah. You don't really see that much motorized anything outside of Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah. That's just vertibirds.
Yeah. What do you think? What is your opinion of mounts in Fallout?
It's implied. I saw in a couple of spots in Fallout 4 that it's implied that the APCs some of the APCs are used by the Brotherhood too.
Okay.
But you only see them in stationary spots where the Brotherhood's operating. It would be a problem of scale, I think. And there would have to be like paths and roads design if we were doing like vehicles that had wheels, as opposed to animals that can get over rough terrain, or even just a vehicle that can handle rough terrain. But then there would be the problem of density or the lack thereof, because you wouldn't want to like drive and stop and drive and stop and drive and stop, because that would kind of defeat the purpose.
Right.
But if you compare it to other games, even post-apocalyptic games that do have vehicles, and how much empty space there is between point A and point B, you're just like, well, does that really justify adding vehicles at that point?
Yeah.
Whereas, would you rather just, have more dense space as opposed to wide open nothing? Two examples that come to mind are Rage 2 and the Mad Max game. There's a lot of empty space between areas, but it's Mad Max. These were both by the same developer too. Come to think of it, Mad Max was by Avalanche, I think.
I don't know.
And Rage 2 was Avalanche and id Software.
Huh. Okay.
I believe. I could just be pulling this out of my butt, which would be uncomfortable. But I like more dense worlds, so I think that kind of the route they took with Skyrim in having horses and stuff like that, and even Oblivion. Could you get mounts in Morrowind, or was that just using them for fast travel?
There was no personal mounts in Morrowind. Not like you couldn't go. I mean, there's probably mods, but that doesn't really count in this regard. There was no mounts. Oblivion was the first Elder Scrolls to implement mounts.
Yeah, something that goes at a slightly faster pace than sprinting. Obviously stamina doesn't matter too much. Or maybe put it in a situation where, like the classic Fallout games, Fallout 2, you could have, say, a motorcycle or something, but it would be fusion powered, and you have to use fusion cells to keep it going.
Right.
Something like that. Just something to maintain. I don't know. Cut off the amount of distance that you can go in one shot.
Right. And then you'd have to make fusion cells much more rare. I don't
know if you would have to. Like, there would just be a distinct advantage to. You could probably put more advantages on a vehicle like having extra storage, but you'd have to use your fusion cells that you already have, that you may be using for your weapons.
Okay.
So that would be the trade-off. You have more storage space on your cool motorcycle, but you have to use your fusion cells to keep it going.
Right. I would definitely like a motorcycle. As someone who has a motorcycle in real life,
yeah,
I definitely like them. I still think we run into the issue, like we've both mentioned, of scale, and I think they would have to essentially almost mold the game around the idea of having a motorized mount.
It would have to be a core mechanic for it to be. Yeah. Just
why I think, for me personally, again, I'm much more in favor of the idea of a creature mount, because I don't think you would have to really scale as much or extremely. You could still keep things kind of dense. I think of like Red Dead Redemption is a really good example of a game that just has endless amounts of unique content. So I don't know. I mean, do you think we'll ever see like actual Bethesda made mounts in a Fallout game, or are we going to be dependent on the mod community forever?
Well, okay, so we know that the creation engine, as we know it, can support horses at least. So I think that's not outside the realm of possibility in future games. Whereas vehicles are a bit more a bit more far-fetched, again, as the engine is.
Right.
Because I think one of the engine limitations was the amount of things that could be loaded, and if character speed is raised any further than, say, a car would obviously be faster, or a motorcycle would be faster than a horse.
A bit.
The game wouldn't be able to keep up, or the engine wouldn't be able to keep up with loading objects and textures.
Right. Okay.
Like it would take it. There would be a performance hit somewhere, from what I understand. I'm also very tired, but I'm not a programmer. But from what I recall, there was severe engine limitations, which is why vehicles weren't introduced at all into the Fallout series after Bethesda acquired it. Player usable vehicles.
That makes sense. I can definitely see that being the case.
Yeah, I would be down with riding around a Yaguai or DEATHCLAW.
DEATHCLAW, oh my god. That would be interesting.
If you could, like, have a special move where the DEATHCLAW just throws you up onto a building or something. That'd be killer. Add some extra utility.
Oh man. They need to make
throw
that
cars
happen.
at you. Like, why not?
Yeah, no. You could just maybe you could just like ride him around and attack stuff with him anyways, like claw things and
yeah,
as
long as they made something more on top of it as an incentive, besides just petting them, which is important. Whatever your mount is, whatever your companion, your animal companion, or whatever it is.
Totally.
We didn't even talk about robots. Robots were an option too.
Yeah, you could get some sort of like robotic mule.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Or just like hollow out a RoboBrain unit and just ride around on treads.
That would be kind of cool.
Roller skates. There we go.
Oh man, see, there's plenty of ideas and opportunities for the creative minds at Bethesda to include in whatever iteration Fallout 5 will be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see more stuff like that. Like I've mentioned, I think, wanting to see like a like taking power armor to another level where you have like a skill tree for it.
Yeah.
And I think it would be kind of cool to have like an animal mount system, and you can upgrade it to carry more stuff or whatever, endless amounts of ideas and possibilities.
Yeah.
With that concept, but I think it would be interesting to see what they come up with if they did something like that.
Yeah, the change they made to Fallout 4 were a good one, turning it into more like a vehicle as opposed to just a suit.
Yeah.
Different
maybe you could even
modifications and paint jobs and.
Yeah, maybe they could even expand on power armor and making it a form of a mount system where you could increase like the leg actuators to run fast or something. Or
I think there was already something similar.
Was there?
And maybe there was like a speed increase mod. It wasn't by much, and I think it costs more AP, which was the trade-off.
It'd be kind of cool to see, and now we're on a completely different topic, I think, at this point. Talking about power armor, it'd be cool to see different types of power armor, like maybe like a lighter scout version, so that you would be able to move faster and jump around and be able, versus the big tanks that are slow but they can carry more, and
This is starting to sound like Death Stranding.
Yeah. Inspiration can be found from anywhere.
Yeah.
I still haven't played Death Stranding. I have it. I bought it. But
There's
working
different
on
exoskeletons that do those things.
Yeah, I'm trying to finish games. So I'm working on other stuff and before I jump into that, because I know I'll probably end up spending a lot of time with it. So
right.
And then everything else that I'm currently playing, I'll never see again.
You gotta get past that 2-hour prologue movie.
Sounds about right.
and then play the tutorial area, which happens to be like 3 maybe 4 cities or settlements or whatever.
Sounds like a Hideo Kojima game.
It's fun.
Hey, I always loved that about like Metal Gear Solid. Like I know a lot of people complain about the 30-minute or however long cutscenes. I was like, I think it's cool. Like
I think MGS4 was the most egregious in its cutscene length, because it was just like, well, I'm gonna go make a sandwich or 5.
Yeah, it's a pretty bold move to do that though for a game developer standpoint.
Yeah.
Because I mean the average attention span of most people, I mean, there's a reason why most games don't have those long of cutscenes, because most people can't sit there and watch.
Well, it's just very clear that Kojima just wants to make movies.
Right.
wants to make movies, but wants people to experience a game at the same time or something.
Yeah.
Extremely self-indulgent, but that's why a lot of us love it.
I would love to see a Metal Gear Solid movie, if done right. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, there's been talk of one for a long while. I don't know who's doing it.
I don't know.
I don't know if Kojima's even part of it. Which
probably not.
He should be, but he's probably not.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh well, we've pretty much run out that topic, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be a fairly cut and dry topic.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's still interesting to think about. I like hypothesizing possibilities like this.
We can ask the listeners too if there's anything we missed, anything we didn't think about or talk about when it comes to mounts in the Fallout series, what they would like to see, or if they just want to go the completely other direction and be like, no mounts.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? We're wastelanders. We trudge it.
There's a 50% chance of wanting them or not wanting them. So if you don't want them, that is a perfectly valid opinion as well. I mean, then there's probably multitude of reasons why there shouldn't be. So,
and then if Sarge were here, he'd be like, everybody's wrong. You're all wrong. All right, let's move on to the what are we doing playing stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're doing and playing.
Well, been playing Cyberpunk. Like I said, I got like 120 hours into it, and I've definitely slowed down on it. When I play now, I might play for, I don't know, an hour or two, and then I kind of move on to other things. It's just kind of the way I operate when it comes to games, open world games like that.
Are you still playing the same character?
Yeah, I've just been having a blast with katanas and stuff. It wasn't my primary playthrough when I first started. I was playing more of a pistol wielding jack of all trades kind of a thing. There's definitely advantages to focusing on a style of gameplay, because you get all the really cool, because a lot of the really cool perks and stuff come later.
Yeah.
And if you spread your points too much, you're never going to see some of those really helpful abilities. So definitely just being able to like roll into a camp of bad guys and walk out unscathed with using only a katana, you just feel like a badass. So having a lot of fun with that. And strangely enough, a couple other games that I've been playing, and I've been doing like videos on my channel for them and everything, are Cyberpunk games in genre. And I find it interesting, a lot of people don't realize that Cyberpunk is a genre before it was Cyberpunk 2077. So, one of the games that I've been playing and recording, and I actually just finished it, so people will get to see that pretty soon, is a game called Observer. And it's been out for a little, I think it got like a year or two. They recently remastered it. So I finally decided to play it. It's really, there's so many similarities between Observer and Cyberpunk 2077 actually, and just some of the concepts. I mean, Cyberpunk in of itself is a fairly used concept in of itself, but just some of the things that you can do, and even just some of the tropes that I see in Observer are in. I can tell that Cyberpunk may have gotten some inspiration from Observer, I mean, it's so similar in a lot of ways. Observer's a lot more linear in as far as a game. Voice is starting to crack now because it's drying out. Much more linear experience, and I would call it a cyberpunk horror game, which kind of fits things for me.
Right.
But it's really cool. It actually, what's his name? Oh, dadgummit, hold on. The guy who is in the game is Rutger Hauer, and I believe he was kind of the main antagonist in the movie Blade Runner, which is a very iconic cyberpunk movie. I do believe the actor has since passed, but it's just really cool. He does a really good job, and the voice acting is on par. And the other game that I've been playing is a game called Transient, which is also a cyberpunk themed game. Been on a cyberpunk kick, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
But it also delves into H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh.
So it is a Lovecraftian / cyberpunk combination, and it's really freaking weird. Both those games are really freaking weird, and Transient just has that added Lovecraftian weirdness to it, which I've been getting into more and more. In the realm of like indie games and stuff, there's been a surge of Lovecraftian themed games, and I find it very Lovecraft stuff very interesting. I don't know much about it because I've never read any of the books or anything like that, but I find it endlessly fascinating, and to see it combined with cyberpunk, I don't think that's ever been done before, so it's kind of first of its kind. Finished both those, so I mean, even though I have it on my that's what I'm playing, I'm done playing them, so I'll be next PIPCAST I'll have new games to talk about, but that's pretty much what's been taking up a lot of my time.
Oh, cool.
How about you?
Well, I've also been playing Cyberpunk 2077 quite a bit. If I were just playing it for the sake of playing it, I would have been done probably over 100 hours ago. But at this point, I have had to play through the game again as my new character, female body type, street kid, to get all of the iconic weapons so I can make a guide on them. I discovered that during one of the Act 1 quests where a lot of the choice and consequence previews were shown, and they kind of taper off quite a bit towards the end of the game. The quest during the pickup, or the quest called the pickup, where you have to go into a Maelstrom hideout. Maelstrom are the heavily modded dudes who are a little out of their minds and working in black market tech. You go there to get a something on the flathead, which is a little spider drone thing that's going to help you with your heist. And you have multiple choices when you go there, and those choices essentially determine what iconic you get and when, which turns out that one of those iconics happens way late into the game if Dum Dum survives, which is one of the Maelstrom dudes. So I had to, I think it was yesterday as of the day of recording, where I had to go to a previous save all the way back at the pickup quest and then play all the way through all of the main quests up until the very last one so I could encounter Dum Dum again and get his weapon.
Wow.
So I got Dum Dum's Doom pistol. Or revolver, sorry. Fires 4 shots at once, which is really cool. It's a devastating weapon.
Nice.
I will say, out of the 3 options that you have from the pickup quest, that is probably the best one. So basically for that one, you have to pay off Royce, not kill any of them, and help them with the Militech raid. So basically you're siding with the Maelstrom.
Okay. Wow.
So if you do that during the pickup towards the very end of the game, when you do Johnny's side quests, you'll have to go find Nancy, and she'll be interviewing Maelstrom, and she'll be like, they're gonna scan me on our way out, and they're not gonna like what they find. And they're like, okay, we're gonna shoot our way out, or sneak if you want to. But I was like, no, let's shoot, because Dum Dum's right there. So yeah,
when you got Dum Dum by your side, you gotta be a little dumb.
Anyway, the reason, if anybody's curious, the reason I haven't done many videos lately is because I've been working on making the frickin' spreadsheet for this one. There's 46 iconic weapons in Cyberpunk 2077. I'm going to do the thing that I do with a lot of games, especially big RPGs that are going to be in the news for a while, Cyberpunk, and make a evergreen guide for the iconic weapons. I would say don't really expect me to go over stats as much because they are scalable. So it's going to be more about locations and the extra effects that these weapons have. A lot of them just punch through things. Like you can shoot through an entire building and kill someone. It's pretty great. The Comrade's Hammer has been probably one of my favorites. It's a single shot revolver that goes through anything and has explosive rounds when it hits its target.
Wow.
So it's pretty awesome, and it's just the strongest gun in the game. It has, I think mine does like 4,000 damage at its top. That is too much damage. Most things can't survive.
I kind of like that though. I like it when games have weapons that are just OPAF. Because was it like, I don't remember if we talked about it or if I talked about it on my own podcast that I don't really do that much of anymore.
I think we did. I think we did either last podcast or the one before.
Yeah. Well, I remember mentioning something
or
about
even pre-recording.
I don't know. I just remember having a conversation somewhere at some point with someone about I think it was Borderlands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how they were nerfing some of the more powerful drops or something. I just remember thinking, like, what's the point of this game if I can't maybe have the possibility of finding a really overpowered weapon? I'm like, I want that rare drop that makes me more powerful than everybody else. And it's super rare, but you have a chance of finding it, and you're gonna just wreck people.
Yeah,
I like that as a concept. I mean, so I like the idea of a 4,000 damage weapon, even though it's way OP, but I want that feeling of just like, I've got this rare, one only unique weapon that no one else in the world has, and because of that, I'm going to wreck your day.
Yeah.
I don't know, the role player in me really appreciates that, because then I start thinking, okay, I'm this mercenary with this iconic gun, and that'll be what people know me for, and and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the way my weird brain works. I like the idea of overpowered weapons.
Yeah. I hope, well, okay, so I just hope the scaling gets tinkered with a little bit for like levels.
Scaling is important.
Yeah. Because like weapons can be insanely powerful. Like anything, if you build in one direction for a character in Cyberpunk, by level 30, you'll probably be crushing everyone. Like there's like a sheer drop off around that point to where you're just like, everything is easy.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I hope that between like 31 and 50 that they actually either add a system in where, like, if you set it to very hard mode, like enemies will actually scale with you, or something along those lines. Because like the only thing we have right now is a very hard mode where it doesn't seem like your armor matters at all, and enemies can still 2 or 3 shot you no matter what, which isn't very fun either. So well,
I haven't tried playing it on very hard, and I'm probably
I don't
not
recommend
going
it.
to.
It just kind of feels like as if you were playing very hard in Fallout 3.
I don't
Enemies
know.
are more spongy and they do stupid amounts of damage to you.
I'm personally at a point in my life where, and it's gonna sound kind of, I don't know, silly. I don't know what it sounds like, but like I don't necessarily play games for a challenge anymore. Like I do appreciate some challenge. I don't want my hand held and stuff like that, but like I'm at a point in my life where I like to play games for like the story and the experience and and the immersion.
Yeah.
So a very hard mode doesn't appeal to me. But yeah, scaling is definitely important.
Yeah. Mainly it was just like so I had experience with it. I think I turned it back down when I was playing through again up until that one point to get the iconic weapon that was just so far away from the actual trigger point. Because I didn't want to take forever. I didn't want to get stuck in a fight and be like, screw this. Like, when you go to the old mall in Pacifica and have to fight all the animals or sneak around them.
I haven't got that far, dude.
Never mind. Okay. I won't spoil
I'm over 100 hours in, but it's mostly because I've got a couple different characters that I put time into.
Gotcha.
I haven't actually made it that far into the game.
It's just a ton of guys that are spongy already, and I made them more so, and they run up and punch me and I die, kind of thing. So that's when I scaled back the difficulty, and I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna walk through. It's it's over. So I've been working on the Cyberpunk Iconics guide. It'll get done when it's done. I know last time I had talked about making a Cars countdown, but that kind of just fizzled out as an idea. We'll see. I have stuff recorded for it. I just don't have the motivation to do something like that. So working on an actual something that'll last a long time. Also not knowing how much stuff is going to change with Cyberpunk. That's one of the most frustrating things about games nowadays when they have updates that'll change things.
Right.
Like, I have a Borderlands 3 countdown of the 10 blamiest guns in Borderlands 3. Granted, they are vanilla guns, and one of the guns on the list has been nerfed about 4 times. Which is the flak, the flacker. It's almost useless now in Borderlands 3. So I am kind of half waiting for some things to like see if any rebalancing happens before making videos on it.
Right.
I've been going through and finding like some spots that have specific gear too, like armor with extra slots and stuff like that, and arm modifications or that kind of like cyberware stuff. So I might do a guide on that too. But anyway, besides that, been playing Noita a lot.
Nice.
It's a roguelike. You're a wizard. I've talked about this many times. I have died many times. The first time though that I completed a run while streaming happened last week, which was pretty cool. Streaming on Discord, once again. Join my server if you want to see me stream and rage at stuff sometimes. Usually I don't get myself to that point, but it has been fun. I also did without streaming, I did a like 5-hour-ish run where I got down to the bottom right before the boss, and then I think I grabbed my last perk, because I had so much gold by the end. I think I grabbed my last perk, and it was like Trick Blood Money, I think, which causes golden enemies to drop if they've been killed by accident by something or by something indirect. They drop gold that also heals you. So I was actually able to get that perk and then like go all the way back up to the surface by swapping out stuff on my wand and being able to dig through the other temples.
Huh.
And I wanted to explore more areas because there's so many secrets in Noita. Like some rooms you need to have a torch or some way to see through the darkness to actually get to the other side, or it's just really dark and you have to move slowly to start revealing the different areas. There's a whole desert area if you travel along the surface on the right side of the map. Like there's so much. But I ended up getting to the labs, which is almost like in the very first area to the left, and I died from bullcrap because that's Noita. So I got polymorphed and then killed.
Oh.
I had no option to do anything.
I hate those guys. I think they're just like shotgun guys in the earlier game.
Mm-hmm.
They kill me all the freaking time. And it's always like just like out of nowhere, like where I'm trying to dodge them and they still just like, they're crack shots, man. I don't know, man. They always
for
get
that
me.
rack and then fly up.
Yep.
Yeah. You'll enjoy the wizards later on.
Oh, I'm
man.
sure.
They are. So there's a variety of them. Their projectiles can blind you. They can teleport you. They can cause your wand to misfire.
Lovely.
It depends on the type, but one of them can switch teleport with you if you hit them.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have to say I'm fairly rubbish at the game. Like, just not very good at it. But I enjoy it still.
Yeah. It's fun. I've made, God, how many attempts have I made so far? Like 300, 400 attempts or deaths. That would count as deaths. And like 4 wins.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I don't think I've even come close to completing or winning. I didn't even know you could win in this game. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. There is a final boss, but like a lot of other roguelikes, there's optional areas and optional bosses and stuff.
Right. I think the furthest I've gotten is looking at the achievement, it's the Hisi base.
Ah, the Hisi base. Yes.
That's as far as I've gotten. I've never made it past that yet.
Trick with them, if I can offer a trick.
Sure.
The ones with the grenade launchers and the pistols, they can't aim vertically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stay
so
up.
that's their blind spot basically. So if you're
Okay.
directly above or directly below them, they can't hit you.
Okay.
All the other ones though, like the snipers and the commanders and whatever, though, they will absolutely shoot up and down.
They will wreck you. Yeah. I most of the time I can't. Most of the time I die in the snowy depths level.
Yeah, that's like the testing ground, dude. I die there so much. Snipers are bullcrap.
Oh, no, it's a lot of fun though. Strangely enough.
Yeah.
Like most of the time I don't like games where you have to start over.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot of it's experimentation too. Like,
yeah,
you get new spells and new wands and stuff like that. You could swap them out. If it's a no shuffle wand, you can be like, oh, this one has a trigger, and then at the end of this trigger, you can do this, kind of thing.
it's an interesting mechanic. Like when you first start playing the game, you don't really realize everything that goes into successfully playing the game.
Oh yeah.
But when you start getting into like wand variations and whatnot, I mean, there's so many different possibilities and combinations.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and just stuff. The game has so much stuff.
Yeah, I want to stream it at some point. It's on my list of games to stream at some point. Same thing about motivation though. I haven't had that for streaming, so, and I'm just no good at it, so I don't know how entertaining that would be. I would never get anywhere new. It would just be me dying and being like, oh, that was a cool wand that I had.
I would recommend like getting familiar with it first and then streaming it, because like the first few times I was like, I still didn't fully understand the game, and I was just more getting frustrated and trying to keep people entertained at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's really difficult.
Yeah. That's probably part of the reason why I haven't. Just is like,
I know there's
I don't know what I'm doing.
I know there's people that like to embrace the rage, but that's definitely not me.
I do to a point.
Yeah.
I get to the if I don't mind raging to a point because it's kind of funny, but if I get to the point where I'm risk breaking my mouse or something,
then it's not.
Then I'm like, I need to walk away from this forever.
Anyway,
yeah.
Yeah, that's all I've been doing and we've been doing and stuff like that. Please tell us what you've been doing in the comments below. Those of you still listening, hearing us ramble about the stuff we've been playing. And any of the topics we've been talking about are also linked down below, and you can look forward to a couple weeks from now, Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, the next PIPCAST 3000. You have any final words, Jared?
Just be kind to each other, love each other. Still find ourselves in trying times, but we'll make it through if we just kind of still be cool to each other and stuff. I don't know.
Good message. All right, everybody. Take care.
Bye.